Hello, my name is Jay Carpenter. I'm founder of StarChain and Star Camps. And this is a session we're having to talk a little bit about the Stellar Community Fund number 30, the Kickstarter, as well as starting to build some things on the Stellar testnet surrounding StarChain, as well as basically whatever we would like to build. So Hiroyuki is on, and there might be a couple others that join us, but let's just go ahead and get started. And let me run through a little slide presentation, and then we'll open it up for just a conversation. Hiroyuki, is if that's cool. So let me, okay. So today there was a session by the Stellar Development Foundation people that are in charge of running the Stellar Community Fund, and to talk about how to prepare. And they brought up some things that I was not aware of that are kind of new dimensions of this revision of the Stellar Community Fund. And the bottom line is, it appears that StarChain would probably not fit their criteria for making an application to Stellar Community Fund number 30. They're looking for, basically they're looking for projects that have already been through the Kickstarter, or that have a team and users and revenues potentially and so forth. So that was rather discouraging to me, because I had assumed that we could go through the Kickstarter, which sounded like it was basically a prerequisite to the Stellar Community Fund, and then apply or simultaneously apply for the Stellar Community Fund, but that does not seem to be the case. So that leaves this Kickstarter program as an option, and the application for that has to be in by this Sunday, the 15th. And, so anyway, we can discuss that as this progresses. But the other option that came up actually yesterday is we started to build momentum with people joining the StarChain Discord server. Is, hey, let's just go ahead and get started building some things on the testnet. And as I'll highlight a little bit later, the testnet is set to be reset next Tuesday, the 17th. But I think we could start to explore creating private public messages and maybe marketplaces. So this is the session that occurred today, which was about, I don't know, just under 50 minutes. I don't know where the recording is. I couldn't find it on X, but I'm sure the recording will surface probably on the Stellar Development Foundation YouTube channel. But the bottom line is that uh, I think the likelihood of at least the StarChain project getting into Stellar Community Fund number 30 is pretty low, if not precluded. And then it's a matter of, okay, who is interested in participating in the Kickstart program, which is a 5-day process, which takes a considerable amount of time. It is valuable. I did go through their startup boot camp several years ago. It was valuable, but it was valuable to go through that and then jump right into your project, which is what we did. So I'm mixed about participating in the Kickstart program, but we can talk about that later. And then this is a link to the overall Stellar Community Fund number 30 with all the rules and particulars and so forth. And this was the original proposal that we would create a 5-person team forming by this Sunday. I think this is basically not relevant anymore based upon what I heard and how I now understand the structure of this version 6 of the Stellar Community Fund. So I just wanted to show this slide because this is no longer applicable in my view. So here's some possibilities. As the Stellar testnet resets on September 17th, I think we could start to experiment with some, even if we posted some public keys, let's say on NFTs that didn't have any coherent or cohesive connection to them, and then started encrypting, decrypting messages, posting them on Discord in a mixed fashion using Google Slides. I forgot to include Braid, but Braid text might be an option as well. And then we could also set up for the members of the StarChain Discord that want to participate, we could set each member up with what I call a cell camp, which is the camp model that matches the cell phone number of the person that's going to be the master of the camp. And we could also experiment with some choice numbers as well. Or choice camps. And then this morning I tried to set up an NFT on the testnet, and the lab.stellar.org was not working. I had to report that to the help channel on the Stellar developer Discord. We could also experiment with PGP tool, and probably the most interesting though is starting to experiment with marketplaces for these things. And that's what I would personally be really interested in doing, because it's my intention that we look for, or there are ways to monetize the elements of StarChain and Star Camps as soon as possible. I think that's a critical piece. So anyway, this is a slide I showed the other night, but I did create a custom asset on the testnet with the asset code StarChain, and it is still there, at least until next Tuesday. And underneath is the issuer, I'm not sure if it's the issuer distributor address, account address, but anyway, it must be the distributor address. So anyway, you can look that up. It really doesn't have much to show. I did load the initial 0 link for StarChain onto IPFS, and there is the IPFS content ID for that. And then if you open that up, you should get, using a gateway, IPFS gateway, you should get that 0 initial very first StarChain link, which is 15 zeros separated by an asterisk, and then 64 zeros to be sort of placeholders for, well, the 15 zeros is not a placeholder. That's an actual valid ID on the StarChain. But the 64 will only happen as 64 zeros one time, and then it will be replaced with at this point, a SHA-256 hash. And that SHA-256 hash is shown below. Now, I got to caution you, because sometimes I've found that if you copy the information off of, you know, them um, or Nano or other places, it doesn't hash to what it hashes to if you run a hash on the file that contains the StarChain link and links. So that's something that will need to be worked out. And then the other thing down below is to start to place public keys and so forth within NFTs on the Stellar testnet. So this is our Discord, and this is a little schedule of things coming up. Actually, we're beyond the September 10th, obviously, but I am planning to have an in-person in uh, San Francisco starting Tuesday evening, September 24th. And I've got a reservation for the following day, Wednesday, the 25th, to do some coding and working and building. That's me. And that's pretty much the end of the slide summary. So, having said all that, Hiroyuki, what would you like to do? What are your thoughts on moving forward here? Are you interested in the Kickstarter? Were you planning to participate or looking to participate in the Stellar Community Fund number 30 process and application? And what ideas do you have regarding moving forward, and how could we start to do something that would be meaningful?
Mm, um, I think we should implement some MVP for the StarChain. I can get involved in Stellar testnet smart contract, and also I can develop some front end.
Cool.
I think the making the still testnet smart contracts for the NFT is the priority.
Great. I agree. Awesome. So that's perfect. Have you built smart contracts on Stellar already?
I don't have experience with the Stellar network exactly, but I have developed many smart contracts on EVM and Cosmos-based networks, so I can study quickly, and also it's easy for me.
Mhm. Do you know Rust, by the way?
Yes, I know Rust. The Cosmos-based networks use the Rust for the smart contracts, and also I have experience in Solana networks also. So
Okay.
anyway, I I have a look the Stellar network smart contracts tutorial.
Mhm. Okay, good. Well, I would love to go through those tutorials with you. I do not know Rust, but it's on the roadmap to learn Rust. And I've been focusing on basically the classic Stellar pieces to get
Yeah,
familiar with those again. Uh, so and JavaScript, but I'm very interested to get uh, started with the Soravan smart contracts. And the other thing I'd like to mention, Hiroyuki, and I'm glad you brought it up, I think it's really important to start to look at how StarChain could be um, have a presence on the other chains like Cosmos, like Ethereum, like whatever else is out there, because in order for this to really be trusted, I think you have to have it has to have other Web3 ecosystems so that if something happened to Stellar, there would be a backup. Does that make sense?
Yes. Great.
Is that something you're interested in as well? Okay.
Um, I'm interested in the front end or back end development too.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Well, why don't we do you have any other thoughts or comments before we wrap it up for this conversation? Let me ask you this.
Yep.
Because I have to make a decision before Sunday. Are you interested and would you have the time to participate in the Kickstarter program if we applied? All right, do you know?
Yeah, Kickstart program.
Yeah, the Kickstarter program starts on it's a 5-day program starting in like on the last day or two of September and goes to October the 4th. And it's like this kind of intense coaching and um, creating material around a project, getting some possible user feedback, mentoring, and things like that. Um, and it might result in $15,000 in funding, but there's no guarantee of that. So let's leave it at this. If you're interested in that, uh, you know, you can take a look at the material that's in that presentation. But if that's not of interest to you or you don't have the time to participate, I totally understand. And frankly, I am less than 50% probability that I would apply for the Kickstarter program because it does take two people to really get into the Kickstarter program, or they prefer at least two people. But if I don't hear from you by, you know, end of the day tomorrow, and we can chat about this on Discord, um, I will, assume that we're not applying for the Kickstarter. But we can discuss it on Discord. We don't have to discuss it on this session that's
Okay.
being recorded. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
Um. Good. No, I
Good.
don't have.
Good. All right. Well,
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm excited to start building something. That's all I wanted to say. So,
Okay.
all righty.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think it's daytime in your part of the world. So have a good day, and I'm gonna have a good night. So,
Mm-hmm.
and
Have a good night.
all right. Good night.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.